What's up, YouTube? Doomwake here. Welcome to another modern video on the channel. Apologize for no content yesterday. I had a lot of stuff going on yesterday, so I didn't quite have time to do the video that I wanted to. But I am making up for that by playing some Asmo today. Also, a little beardless. But here, we continue. So, we are playing some Asmo today, and this is kind of a riff on the old Asmo Reanimator deck that I played a little while ago that I did like that deck quite a bit. And this is kind of a little bit of an updated take, because I haven't really touched it much with recent printings, which we'll go over here in just a second. But the genesis of this deck is pretty much, we're a Reanimator deck, so we're playing Unmarked Grave, Persist, and Archon of Cruelty. We're utilizing those three cards, but we're going about it in a little bit of a different way. So sometimes I've seen, the Aspiring Spike is big on, like, Grief, Ephemerate, Solitude. There's been lists that have had Counterspell and more interaction. But what we're choosing to do, instead of play those kinds of cards, is we're choosing to combine that with the Asmo package. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is, obviously, if your opponent has Graveyard Hate, you want a good kind of plan B against that. So the Spike deck uses Grief and Ephemerate to kind of get around that and get some pressure in play. But what we're using is Asmo along with Underworld Cookbook, as always, and Urza Saga. And one of the best things that you can do against an opponent who overloads on Graveyard Hate is just make some constructs. So Saga's awesome there. The other nice thing that Cookbook allows you to do, which is something that the other Reanimator decks don't have, is if you have Cookbook in your opening hand, you can play it on turn 1, discard Archon of Cruelty, and then untap and persist it. And the other Reanimator decks don't really have, I mean, I guess they can Thoughtseize themselves, but it's a lot less efficient, and, you end up being down more cards in the exchange. So Cookbook just allows you to it gives you some more busted Reanimator draws, and we also still get to play Faithful Mending, which is kind of serves double duty here in the sense that it's a discard outlet for Archon, but it also is a discard outlet for Asmo, so that's kind of cool too. Now, one kind of big systemic issue with this deck list, and I've been trying, and this is kind of the reason why I put it on the back burner for a while, is I couldn't figure out the mana base. Because I did try playing with Faithful Mending, but as you can imagine, when you're playing with 4 copies of Urza Saga, so you have to have colorless lands in your deck, you need black on turn 1 for Blood Fountain and Asmo sometimes. So I guess you can't turn 1 Asmo in this deck, but you need black on turn 1 for Blood Fountain, you need white on turn 1 for Ending sometimes when you're on the draw, you need blue-white on turn 2, blue-white on turn 3. It's just, the mana requirements are kind of stretched a little bit in this deck, alongside the fact that you're playing 4 colorless lands. So there's some really clunky draws, and I'm sure you'll see some in the video. But I do think the juice is worth the squeeze, as they say, because of just how powerful Urza Saga is, and it just gives you this incredible backup plan. Rounding out the deck, we have the Daredevils to go alongside the Cookbooks, as, a staple of Asmo decks. You could maybe justify playing less Daredevils, but I almost want to play the 4th one, because even though your, primary game plan is Reanimator, when you have the Asmo Saga draw, you really, really want to find a Daredevil to kind of make all that, to just get all that going. So I'm considering adding the 4th copy, maybe over the 3rd Blood Fountain. Speaking of which, Blood Fountain is another new addition. It works really well with both plans because, again, it's a discard outlet, so it's good with Archon, good with Asmo. You can rebuy Asmos that have been killed later on. Sometimes that comes up. And just the card filtering, digging you deeper to Persist or Saga, whatever plan you're on, is really good as well. And then, of course, Teferi Time Raveler, rounding out the deck. Teferi Time Raveler is just an awesome card. Would, definitely worth one of the reasons that you would splash blue, because the previous Asmo Reanimator decks were just black-white, so we're basically taking that and splashing blue for Mending and Teferi. And then the one-ofs here, we have an Unburial Rites to go with Unmarked Grave, so we can tutor for that, and then a Shadow Spear for our Urza Saga, because I think Shadow Spear is the most important bullet for Saga Game 1 in most games. And then the mana base, some fetch lands, some shock lands, some basics, and some sagas. Moving on to the sideboard, we have Asera's Emissary, which is mostly here for Hammer Time, but I think there are maybe a couple other matchups. Basically, if your opponent is, really in on one specific card type, whether that be creatures or artifacts or something along those lines, and doesn't have a lot of interaction for creatures, that's where you want to bring an Emissary. Flusterstorm for Cascade and Control. Thoughtseize mostly here for Control. I guess there are some combo decks that you would consider bringing it against. Fatal Push is mostly here for Hammer Time. Teferi Time Raveler, the 3rd copy, is here for Control. and whenever your opponent is like lining up interaction like Solitude, that kind of stuff, Endurance, it's really good against. 2 copies of Fracture, because Fracture is just kind of like, it's not the most efficient card in terms of, you know, there are other disenchants or anti-artifact enchantment cards you can play, but it's versatile, and this deck is looking for that versatility, especially because of the fact that it kills opposing Teferis, kills, you know, it's one of the only cards that kills Teferi, Omnath, and Urza Saga, right? It just kills all 3 of those cards. Vindicates does too, but Vindicate's a sorcery and clunkier, so I like Fracture in that spot. And then we have our bullets here for Urza Saga, a Lantern. We're splitting Lantern and Spellbomb specifically because there are some decks that have where you want that effect that do have Needle, so that's why I like splitting. And there are certain spots where, like, I think Lantern is a little bit better against opposing Reanimator decks that put Archon in the graveyard. Like, imagine a scenario where your opponent casts Unmarked Grave and puts an Archon into the graveyard. You play Soul Guide Lantern. The Lantern trigger gets the Archon, which basically stops their first reanimation spell, and then the Lantern being in play is effectively stopping their next Archon as well. So it's effectively like more, it's almost like a 2-shot against them, where a Spellbomb, you do it and then they just move on with their life. It just trades 1 for 1. So I like Lantern in specific matchups a little bit more. And then Needle, mostly here for Planeswalkers, but you can also bring it in against maybe Saga. Probably not, because you have your own Sagas, but there's some other niche spots like Belcher and that kind of stuff where Needle comes up. So that's the deck list. I am very excited to showcase this to you because this is, you know, again, I'm a big fan of Asmo, and this is one of my pet decks, one of my preferred archetypes for Asmo, so I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed playing it. So without further ado, let's get into some games. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 1. Alright, Bones got a Lurrus, I got a 1-lander. I mean, I do have 3 Prismatic Endings. You know what? Fuck it, I'm keeping. I have 3 endings, and I have Persist on Marked Grave. Come on. And before I draw Urza Saga. Easy. Easy. Watch them be Mill. I mean, ending is still good against Mill. They have crabs, right? They're gonna dash a Ragavan. Seems like they're dashing Ragavan. Croxa. Man, imagine if I just had the Archon in my hand. Can you imagine if I just had the Archon in my hand? How insane that would have been. I mean, now they're certainly not tapping out, right? That's happened to me before playing Reanimator on the draw. Yeah, I know, right? Can you imagine? Excuse me. Yeah, it's always the first card. I don't know if I played a Reanimator deck that has something in the alphabet before Archon. No Thoughtseize, no Thoughtseize, no Thought. No! Just play 1-drop. Play 1-drop. Play Channeler. Play 1-drop. Oh, they're gonna Thoughtseize me. Fuck. 100% Thoughtseize me, yeah. Oh. Okay, well. Never mind. Never mind. 2 free. 2 free. Make sure I don't misclick on the Daredevil. Doing this before playing land against I draw Saga. They have Delirium. Creature, sorcery, artifact, land. They do. Probably have a Heat. Heat's kind of rude. I need blue mana. Let's get Watery Grave. No, I should have got Hallowed Fountain because I have multiple Prismatic Endings. Definitely should have got Hallowed Fountain there. Archon is so sick. I saw Canister was playing a Reanimator deck in Legacy with 4 Archons. It actually looked pretty good. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Okay. My hand is definitely Inquisition proof. Is Archon based in Legacy too? Probably is. Yeah, exactly. Nice Caracas, Archon to you. How many decks is Emissary just lights out against? Probably not that many, right? In Legacy, I should say. Like, is it lights out against Doomsday? If you just name creature? I don't know if... Do they have a bounce spell main deck? I don't know if they have bounce spells main deck. They probably do, right? Yeah, elves. It's good against elves. Alright, so they definitely have... They probably have Heat plus Drown, if I had to guess. This is probably a Heat plus Drown angle. What does protection do against these against Thassa's Oracle? You name creature and they... Oh no, it's not. Okay, never mind. I was thinking it's Iona. You're right. Never mind. I don't know why I was thinking it was Iona. Never mind. I'm dumb. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was like Iona, where they just couldn't cast it. But obviously, yeah, that's bad. Oh, they just don't have heat? Okay, that's cool. So they're dead? Or they misclicked? I wonder if they, like, purposely took 3 damage for Shadow? There's no way, right? There's no way that's right. Yeah, because they also have to discard a card. Blue-black. Okay. Mm-hmm. 4-2. It's 4 mana 4-2 time. You already know, chat. You already know it's 4 mana 4-2 time. Be a little bit better if they didn't take 3 damage last turn. Yeah, we need a hardcast emote specifically for Daredevil. It's my favorite time. It's the best time of playing Asmo decks. It's not even close. This is easily the best part about playing Asmo decks, is hardcasting 4-2s. Like, the actual Asmo part itself is kind of whatever, but just beating people with 4-2s is great. Just light them up. What's your life total? 3? Alright, you're dead. Yeah, Stinkweed of Kindred is up there, too. Card's not even good in Limited? Are you sure this card wasn't good in Limited? I feel like it was. I don't remember that Limited format a ton, but I thought it was okay. Just because, like, you could never kill it, right? Limited was fast. Yeah, there was a lot of vehicles, and yeah, okay, yeah. It was probably okay. Like, it was probably playable. Prismatic ending your Croxa. It's time for Twitter chat. It's time for Twitter. Every time you kill somebody with a Daredevil, you have to tweet it. Okay, I played against Shadow. I think Lantern's Gucci. I don't know if I want both Lantern and Spellbomb. Needle sucks. Fracture kind of sucks. I really don't like Thoughtseize against them. I like Flusterstorm. Push is, like, kind of okay, but... Man, sideboarding with this deck is so hard. Was the record for the last league? I went 2-0 and then I lost the next 3 rounds. It was a tough one. I punted round 3, got destroyed by Spike, and then got destroyed by Blue-White. It was a tough last 3 rounds. No, Spike crushed me. Do I just cut Teferi in this matchup? kind of want to. I mean, it feels really unintuitive, but it's just so inefficient. Let's try this. Seems so weird to cut to Fairy, but I want to try it. I probably should have one of these, right? The Lantern or the Spell Bomb. Let's bring in the Lantern. I think I like the Lantern more because if you draw it early, you can, like, kind of mess with their Delirium early, and then you don't have to pay mana. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you don't have to pay mana for either of them, but... So this is no blue mana, but I have Blood Fountain, Asmo, Prismatic Ending. I'm going to keep it. No blue mana is awkward, but I have a bunch of castable spells. Also, it's kind of cool that you can discard Mending to the blood token and then just flash it back, so you get some good value out of it that way. That's kind of cool. Hardcasting Gurmag Angler and Shadow. Dude, I was playing Vintage one time, and I beat somebody by tapping 7 mana sources to cast Hogak when they had Leyline in play. That shit was hot. Unmarked Grave, huh? I think I'm just gonna ending that fool. We have a Thought Sneeze. Blue Spell Bomb, sure. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's what I meant to say, creatures. I said mana sources, but I meant to say creatures. Yeah, I think it was like 2 Root Wallas, 2 Bloodghast, 2 Deathrite Shamans, or something like that. I didn't mean mana source, I meant creatures. Okay, well they have the Spell Bomb, which means I think I'm just gonna play 2 Blood Fountains, honestly. And just kind of chillax here a little bit. And then I can set up Asmo next turn. Might be better to get a tapped blue source so I take less damage. That's actually probably better. Yeah. And then I can go loot, cast Asmo, play Cookbook next turn. Well, it was on Moto, so, like, you're not allowed to make illegal plays on Moto, right? Or are you? Maybe you are. Who knows? Oh. Well, I have the Spell Bomb. Alright, so let's start by... I want to loot before I play my land, because I might draw Saga. So let's discard Mending. I don't really care if they want to get the Mending. That's totally fine. Okay. Cast Asmo. I assume they have a counterspell or a removal spell for this, but... Bait with Mending? I mean, the thing is, they're not going to pop the Spell Bomb on just the Mending. 100%. If I had a Daredevil, they might pop it on the Mending and the Daredevil, but... I don't have a Daredevil, so they're probably not going to pop this. Are they going to drown this? They have 1 card left. Just play a Fountain. You are sometimes allowed to make illegal plays. You sometimes also cannot make legal plays. Well, yeah, I guess that's true. There are some special circumstances for Magic Online. It's still bugged, right? They haven't fixed that yet, have they? I'm pretty sure it's still bugged. Last I heard it is. I don't know. That was, I think, a couple weeks ago, but... The Walroots bug is if you have an 01 Walroots with 4 counters on it. For some reason, you can't put a counter on it and tap it for mana to pay for a cord, even though you should be able to. That was the bug. And apparently it is still bugged. I thought it was. I drew another Persist. Not exactly what I'm looking for. Do you think I can bait the Spell Bomb by sacking the Blood Fountain? Yeah, it's better than doing nothing, right? I don't think they'll buy for the bait, but what the fuck else am I gonna do, right? Persist Asmo? You can't do that. Asmo's legendary. That is an illegal maneuver. As we just talked about illegal maneuvers. If I had to fear you could double cast Persistence and speed in response to the Spell Bomb. Well, I could also just bounce the Spell Bomb and then cast these two, right? Which is probably a little more efficient. Alright, so I get a 12. Way less flashy. That is true, it is less flashy. There's no way they're gonna bite on the Spell Bomb if I do this, right? I don't think so. I mean, I'm gonna go for it. This Blood Fountain's doing nothing else, so... Of course I draw the second Asmo to get Mega Punished. I probably have to kill this stupid Channeler, right? Just, like, empty my hand and kill the Channeler, have nothing left, can't beat the Kroxa. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But to be fair, the Grave and the Persist aren't doing anything versus the Spell Bomb anyways. Okay, what's this? Oh, they're gonna push the Asmo? Oh, okay. Well, this works out fine-ish for me. Okay. Let's have another Spell Bomb. Okay, new plan. I'm gonna hold on to the other cookbook. Because if they go land Flashback Kroxa, then I can just discard the cookbook and then persist them. I'll take a hit or two from this. Come on, flashback the Kroxa. Do it. Do it. Do it. Flashback that Kroxa. Let's go. There's no way they're going to do that, right? Drown in the lock? Yep. Alright, F6. Well, let's hope their last card's not another drown. Because I will have exactly 2 cards in my graveyard. Why did they activate? I don't know. Okay, now they're just casting a spell. Oh? Black. Death's Shadow. Okay. That's totally fine. Cast this card. They have Flusterstorm or Spell Pierce? They might have Spell Pierce. Can't beat it. Don't Spell Pierce me, bro! Alright, they don't have Spell Pierce. That's good. Yeah, I don't know why they activated. It's kind of weird. I guess I could have played this and left up a Goblet Shrine in case I drop Prismatic Ending. Should I cast that? They have no cards in their hand. So if I go to 9... 4, 5, 6, 7... No, the casting that's bad, right? Because if they draw another fetch land, I can just take 10. Whereas if I shock, I go to 9. If they draw a fetch land, I have to chump block. So yeah, I'm just gonna pass. I don't want to be forced to chump block if they find a fetch land. Alright, we just gotta dodge heat. Because they can't drown this. Just no heat, please. No heat, please. I guess they just wanted to be mana efficient, that's why they popped the Spell Bomb. Because they figured they were gonna, like, use... But they didn't even use all of their mana that turn, right? Because they went... Yeah, they went... 2-drop... Shadow, leave a mana up. I don't know. It's weird. I hope they drew a fetch land. So they're gonna Kroxa. That's fine. I'll just discard this. I guess they're hoping I just have 2 lands in hand and have to chump block. I don't have to chump block, though. If I have 2 lands in hand, I just take 7, right? Unless they also have a fetch land. They didn't use all their mana that turn. They left up a mana. Because they had 4 mana, they played 2-drop plus 1-drop. Alright, I will discard the Underworld Cookbook. Play fetch land, I'll take 10, go to 1, and kill you. No blocks. I declare no blocks. The game is over. Playing Shadow Spear for the rub-ins, because why not? The game is over. Lit. Alright, want to know, chat. You know what I mean? So, like, I sacrificed the Blood Fountain fully knowing that they could Spellbomb me because I wanted them to. Because if they do that, I just untap and go Grave plus Persist, right? So, like, I tried to bait the Spellbomb there, but they just didn't buy it. But then they ended up, like, you know, just, I don't know, it was weird. And they ended up using it next turn when they maybe shouldn't have. I don't know. Oh, right, I forgot to update it. I forgot to update it. My bad. Hold on. I'll do that real quick. What did we change? We cut these. We cut this. We're playing 3 Blood Fountains. I did forget to update that. And then we changed the sideboard. We cut the Terastodon for the Spellbomb. Alright, Stream Decker should be updated now. Yeah. Let's get Gauntlet Shrine. So they took Unmarked Grave. Okay, I think I'm going to play Saga here. It's, like, kind of awkward to play Saga. Well, no, it's not, because I Saga this turn, next turn I make a token, and then on turn 4, when I can play my 4th land, I can float mana, get a book, discard Rights, and then have 4 mana to Rights the Archon. So, I think it's fine to play Saga this turn. It's possible that you want to just hold it and then try to hardcast Rights on turn 5, but... Tarmogoyf drew a Blood Fountain. Alright, well, I'd rather just make a Saga token here, so we'll do that. Saga token also protects me against Liliana when I go for the Rights. So if they Liliana me, just discard Rights. Yeah, Liliana's not the best in this matchup, huh? This is the first league? No, this is technically the 3rd league. The first league I 0-1 dropped, the second league we went 2-3. So this is technically the 3rd league. It's kind of like 2nd and a half league. They're on 12. Red, green. This Boomer Jund? It's gotta be, right? No Luris. It's gotta be Boomer Jund. I declare no blocks. Ow, upstairs. Upstairs. Second Goyf, maybe? Okay. Second Goyf is fine. Let's get Island. Do this. Drew an Unmarked Grave. This is kind of like one of the few spots I really wish I had a Springleaf Drum. So I could just have 5 mana to hardcast the Rights, but... Because it is kind of awkward if I do all of this and they just, like, Bolt the Construct Liliana me or something, you know? But Not gonna not do this. Asmo turns isn't good anymore. I don't know. I'm just trying different stuff. I think that deck is fine. It needs a little bit of work. I just don't know what to change. You know, I feel like I've spent a good amount of time on it, and I'm kind of stuck. Like, I just don't know what else to do with that deck, you know? Yeah, it's like, Springleaf Tribe is only really good if you just randomly have the rights in your hand. I guess that's just not going to come up that often, so... There's not very many situations where you would actually want Drum. It's a 5/6? Man, I'm just gonna take, right? It's gotta be. It's obviously a bluff attack. I mean, I guess they could go Red Source Triple Bolt, but... Oh, they only have 3 cards. They can't do that. Never mind. What about a turns deck with Cat Oven and Manufactor? Why would you play Cat Oven in that deck, though? You know? I guess just for the Manufactor stuff? Maybe. Alright, so playing against Boomer Jund. They can have the Double Strike card? Maybe. I'm not going to play around that stuff. Yeah, Teamer Battle Rage. They could play that card, but... Alright, so I definitely don't want Thoughtseize against Jund. I don't like Thoughtseize against other Thoughtseize decks. Not a fan of Flusterstorm, not a fan of Emissary. Push is, like, kind of okay. Fracture's probably bad. Teferi's decent. And then the graveyard stuff is good, plus potentially the Needle for Planeswalkers. So these are the 6 cards that I'm looking at. What's bad against them? God, sideboarding with this deck is so hard. I feel like in general I've just been trimming on the reanimation stuff. Got a Blood Fountain. Maybe Teferi's not good. And I could just bring in... I mean, I don't really want push, right? Bring in Needle, bring in Lantern. I'll just keep in 2 Teferis. Against Jund Cut Rights and on Mark's Grave? Think so? Men of Doffy? I mean, Asmo could potentially answer Doffy too, right? So this hand's a turn 2 Archon if I find a black source? I mean, I have to keep this hand, right? Alright, so discard spell? No. Spell Bomb? Ignoble Hierarch, huh? Okay, well, I could gamble and just play Cookbook and hope to draw Black Source, but I think I'd rather just kill their Hierarch. I guess that's worse if they have Doffy. I could have just saved this, but... Okay. Birds and Ignoble, huh? Actually drew the Black Source, so I got punished. I'm gonna play this. Because if they play Croxa... Well, if they play Croxa, I'll just discard this, but... I got a little punish there. I mean, I could have gotten greedy and let them have the Hierarch, but... Because it's like, what's the worst case scenario if I let them have the Hierarch? Maybe it's not that bad. They have a discard spell. Black, black. Oh. Oh. Well, that's also really bad for me. Well, shit. Did not expect Blood Moon out of their deck. I guess that makes sense as to why they're playing all these Mana Dorks. Well, that sucks. We'll just draw Swamp. It's fine. Right? Swamp? Hello? Swamp? Any Swamps in the chat? How about a Cookbook? Not exactly a Swamp. If I draw an island, that gives me a 3rd color for Prismatic Ending, but... Cycle Forgotten Cave. Okay. Can also ending their red and green source. That is true. If I draw ending, maybe if I draw ending, I just fire it off with the birds. And they have no green mana. Wow. They're going deep, huh? They are going deep, chat. Opponent is officially going deep. Might as well gain 3 here. No reason not to. Yeah, if I draw Asmo, then we're good. Just kill the bird. Classic Moon Loam deck. I mean, they can still cycle their lands, right? Let's go. Discard this. Get this back. Cast Asmo. Kill their bird. Play the last book. Wonder if I should hang on to the book. Just in case they randomly have, like, Shattering Spree. There's, like, not a ton of reason to play it. I'm just going to pass. Just going to hold it. What's the step above Boomer? Not really sure. Retired? Ooh, they could be a Seismic Assault deck, yeah. Could indeed be a Seismic Assault deck. Yeah, Maelstrom Pulse too. I mean, more like, more likely to have Shattering Spree or Engineered Explosives or something like that, but... Urza Saga would be cool here. It would go right to the graveyard. If that's your definition of cool. I'd prefer to not draw Saga, personally. I'm also at Infinity Life, for whatever that's worth. They locked themselves out with Moon? I mean, they assumed that their birds was living, so... I mean, they probably have a decent amount of basic forests, right? I'm sure they also have Lightning Bolt in their deck. Somewhere. Right? I guess the cool thing about Bolt is if I draw any land, I can just start rebuying my Asmos. So, like, they have to have a lot of bolts, right? Yeah, they're still drawing a lot of cards. Like, they're still cycling these. Well, not really, right? Because they can't cast the Loam. They haven't been dredging Loam because they can't cast it. So they're not really drawing a ton of cards. They do have Seismic Assaults. Okay. If they have 2 lands, they can kill the Asmo. Just gonna keep gaining life. Okay, attack you. We'll eventually find a land, right? Just any land to start rebuying the Asmo. I mean, if they ever find a basic forest, we are in trouble. If they ever find a basic forest, we are definitely in trouble. Alright, let's make some food. Food. 28 life, by the way. Ooh, basic land. Now ending is a good draw. Basic swamp also probably still wins the game. I think I am I think out of everybody on Magic Online, I might be the most efficient with Cookbook. Because I've played it so much, I've probably played more Cookbooks than anybody else on Magic Online, if I had to guess. Okay, backup Asmo. I don't really need that because I have 3 cookbooks, but... They still haven't found 2 lands. Casual 34. Yeah, well, it's effectively more than 34, right? Alright, I'm just going to cast the other Asmo. This might be worse than just rebuying one, but getting it into play right now is pretty Gucci. What's up, Neely? Is Ending even a good draw? They get unlucked too? Well, Ending just wins the game, right? Because I just put Archon into play. I guess it doesn't necessarily, because... Well, honestly, if I draw Ending, I might just kill the Assault. Right? Honestly, yeah, if I draw Ending, I probably just kill the Assault. That might be the more relevant card at this point. Because, like, I'll eventually draw out of it, you know? Like, I think I have more live draws than they have Forest in their deck. Yeah, Salt Loam. You came at the right time. Alright, we'll just rebuy an Asmo this turn. It's a race. Will they find a basic forest before they die? That is the question. Okay. Found another mountain. So I'll play the other mountain. Go. I mean, I'm at a lot of life, you know? I'm at a lot of life. Yeah, this playlist is pretty good. I like this playlist. Excuse me. Alright, food. Food, food, food. Food, food, food. Alright, attack you for 3. Oh my goodness. Go 6. Yep. Best part is opponent's probably going to build themselves up before they kill you with lands at this point. Yeah, like, even if they find a basic forest, like, we're going to be at so much life that I think we're like, in terms of how much life we're gaining a turn, I think we're just outpacing the Seismic Assault, right? Like, we're getting 9 a turn. And even with Loam getting back 3 lands, they can only deal 6 a turn. So I think we're just, like, legitimately outpacing the Loam. Right? Okay, well, there's also that, so... If they take 3, they die. Alright, there's no reason not to just go for it, right? Just kill this and kill them. Yeah. Mr. Holding an Endurance? Yeah, I guess Endurance is a reason. It's a good point. Maybe this is greedy. Maybe I should just kill this. It's possible I should just kill the Seismic Assault. Because it would be pretty bad for me if they did have Endurance, right? I mean, it's not the end of the world, but... They're paying costs. This is probably Endurance. Yeah. Alright, maybe I get punished. I mean, I could eventually just hardcast Archon, right? Unless they have a second Blood Moon, I guess. Just gonna play this. Yeah, I guess if they have a second Blood Moon, I'm pretty far away from hardcasting Archon. But now they get to start loaming. Maybe I made this game closer than it should be. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I mean, obviously I can just kill the Endurance, but... Alright, fetch the 2. I could also just go for it again, right? I could just go Unmarked Grave for Rights. Maybe if they tap out, I'll do that. We'll see. See what happens. They're gonna loam. Temporal chase beats. Yeah, we could also just do that, right? Just start hardcasting 4/2s. Well, hardcasting a 4/2 is not the best against Seismic Assault. Can I bait Stream Decker? It should be updated. Yeah, it should be updated. It's showing updated over here. Refresh the page, maybe, Witty? Because I did update it. I got some game objects for you. I got plenty of game objects. I'm just gonna kill this thing now. No time sieve? We should just put like one random value time sieve in this deck. What exactly is a value time sieve, Doomwake? I don't know. They have a second Blood Moon? They do. Okay, this actually gets kind of dicey now, right? I mean, unless I think I can just never die. Which, it's possible I can just never die. Oh wait, they just die, right? What am I saying? Yeah, they're just dead. Unless they have green card endurance, but... Right, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I'm just dumb. I'm gonna make them have the endurance, right? Like... I forgot that I had black and white mana. Okay, well, it seems like they're dead. Maybe? Postchamp? They actually have the endurance? Endurance question mark? Make them have it. Predicting no endurance? Yeah, they've been tanking for a while. Cast my cards. I'm not gonna not cast my cards. The sweat. The sweat is real. Alright, they've conceded from the game. Cool. Alright, that was a sweet game. Copying your elementals. I don't think you need any artifacts for it specifically. See, these are the hands that I hate with this deck. Saga Mending. It's just super duper awkward, right? Super duper awkward. The classic Saga Mending deck. I think Asmo Reanimator is an underrated Reanimator list. It has a lot of good pieces going for it at the Keenness. I agree. I was always impressed when I played this deck before. I just kind of put it away and didn't play it that much after. Didn't spend a lot of time on it after I started putting it down. But it always felt pretty good to me, you know? How do I want to play this game? I could go Saga Grave for Archon, which is highest upside if I find Persist. I could go Flooded Strand Mending and just take a turn off of Saga, which is better if they have Spreading Seas too. Honestly, I kind of like that. I kind of like that play. Because these decks do usually have Spreading Seas. So I think holding off on the Saga for a turn is good, because it makes them play off-curve, because they don't want to cast the Spreading Seas this turn, and then next turn, if I play the Saga, they kind of want to play Teferi, but they can't play Teferi and Spreading Seas in the same turn, so it kind of messes up their curve a little bit. It's something that you kind of sometimes do with Hammer Time, where you just, like, don't play your Saga on turn 2 against Spreading Seas decks, and you just hold it, and it just, like, kind of messes with their sequencing a little bit. Okay. Through the Breach Archon. I mean, that kills most people, right? It's just 12 damage. It's not a bad idea. Okay. So now I can go discard Mending, discard Planes, And then go Saga, Grave for Archon, Blood Fountain. And then I can keep both Graves, because next turn I can Grave for the rights. I like that. Yep, I'm gonna play Saga this turn. So we cut the 2 raids for Fountain. What's the third cut? The main deck Spellbomb. Which I moved to the sideboard over the Terrastodon. And I told myself I wasn't going to play against Tron. And we have not played against Tron yet, so... Yeah, 12 damage, they discard 2 things, kill 2 creatures, draw 2 cards, which is pretty insane, right? Like, that's pretty disgusting. What'd you think of Blood Fountain and Hollow One? It's not a creature, because I assume you want to be a Vengevine deck, right? So it not being a creature is kind of awkward. I also don't know what you would cut for it. That was a... Wait, Spike went live again? I didn't even know Spike went live again. I assume you went live because you were trying to get a trophy. Appreciate the raid, buddy. Hope you had a good... Hope you got your trophy. Did you get a trophy? Oh, you got a trophy? Nice. With the same trophy that you beat me in. We're still playing Esper Reanimator. If you're coming to get the second Spike raid of the day. Trophy for the fam, nice. What do I do this turn? I could flashback Mending. I could play Teferi. I could just cast Grave, too. Because I have the Archon of the Graveyard. I think I'm supposed to lead on Teferi, though. Just plus. It's possible I'm supposed to minus the, in case they have Prismatic Ending, like minus on my Blood Fountain, but... This is your fee as a paid actor? Oh, I see. Thank you, I appreciate you. I forgot to DM me the PayPal. That's my fault. That one's on me. Well, anyways, thanks for the raid, buddy. Welcome everybody from Spike Stream. Congratulations on the trophy. We're 2-0. We're making our way towards a trophy. Be sure to follow the stream if you are not already. What's this? Nomnath? Oh, it's a fairy. Okay. Bounce Saga. They bounced the Blood Fountain? Really? Instead of bouncing the Saga token? Really? Huh. It's very interesting. I'm kind of surprised they would bounce the Blood token instead of just bouncing the Saga. Roval, thank you for the 3 months. Appreciate the 3 months of support. Thank you for the kind words. I enjoy the always cool. You. Why would they bounce the Blood token? I guess they're worried about Asmo? I mean, what I kind of want to do is pick up the Blood Fountain. Because I want to find a land. So I can go land, Blood Fountain, make a Saga token. Also, I could find Persist and probably just end the game. Yeah, I'm just going to bounce the Blood Fountain. Okay, land's fine. So yeah, now I just want to go Blood Fountain. I mean, instead of making a Saga token, I could just Grave for rights, right? Is that better? Just go like... Well, I guess if I'm going to Grave for rights, I should just Mending first. Because I could just draw Persist, right? I can't hold up Mending because they have Teferi in play. So I think if my plan is to cast Grave for rights, I should just Mending first. Because I could just find Persist. Okay, so discard these 2, and then cast the Grave. Just get rights. Alright. Go. I like this line. This line's good. Any cat jammers? Any cat jammers? Also, chat, I forgot to show you mail day today. It was kind of a boring mail day, but... Bang. The OG. It's hard to see, but pillage. Pillage. What's the benefit of this version over traditional Esper Reanimator? Urza Saga. Urza Saga is a ridiculous magic card. Just single-handedly solos people. Card is just so busted. Alright, please no Fury. Seems like they have Fury if they're shocking. Yeah, so they're gonna kill Tef. Right, I think you get a much better backup plan. They use the green mana. Witness. Witness the Spreading Seas on the Saga. And they have a medium creature to sacrifice to the Archon trigger. And they get to kill the Saga. Yeah, this is kind of bad, huh? I feel like we're in danger. I feel like I am in danger. Because I can put back the Archon, but they just sack the Witness, right? Yeah, this is not looking great. Alright, well, do my thing. That's all I can do. They sack this, discard one of their 7 cards. Yeah, this is not good. Not looking great. Okay. It's a medium draw. I mean, I can cast it because I have Blood Fountain and Mending, but it's kind of a medium draw. They also discarded it in Holy Heat. Okay, well, that's not good. Discarding on Holy Heat, huh? That can't be good. Yeah, they have a million cards in their hand. Solitude, that killed Teferi. Do I have outs? I'll take a draw step or two. Never mind. No longer taking a draw step. Maybe that was an early concession? I don't know. We're so far behind. They have 1,000 cards in their hand. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those, like, life EV things where it's just like, you know. Alright, push bad, lantern bad, needle fine-ish, Teferi fine-ish. Thoughtseize I think is good. Luster Storm's bad against Teferi. I kind of want to cut Prismatic Ending. Just like, I don't really think Prismatic Ending is where I want to be in a matchup like this. I think I just want to focus on Thoughtseize. And maybe I can trim a Fountain for the Teferi. Let's try this. I think Fracture is good? What do you want Fracture against? I don't know what you would want Fracture against. Answers Rest in Peace. I mean, if you're playing Witness, they don't usually have Rest in Peace, right? I don't exactly know if these lists do have Rest in Peace in their sideboard, but... I guess it also kills Planeswalkers, which is reasonable. The problem with that kind of exchange is they're almost always up a card when they play their Planeswalker and activate it, so, like... potentially over rights. I feel bad every time I cut rights, because it just, like, you lose a lot of utility, even though you don't necessarily have... you don't always have time for it. It's just like having access to it is really important sometimes. You know what I mean? So like even if you don't think it's going to be that fast, just it's really nice to have access to, you know. Oh, sure. Yeah. Mulligan. Alright. I guess I'll keep this. Maybe I should put back the second mending, actually. I think that's better. Yeah. It's really hard to utilize the second mending, because I can just flashback the first one. Also, I'm likely just going to play Saga on 2 anyway, so. I'm going to lead on Godless Shrine. It's better if I draw Thoughtseize. Okay, good plan. I was going to play Saga on 2, but it's also, again, as we were talking about last game, it's probably better to slow roll Saga for a turn against Spreading Seas anyways, so. Evoking Subtlety to opponent's turn on Ragavan. Yeah, that was a good draw. That was definitely a good draw, especially if they just jam Ren here. Which it seems like they're jamming Ren. Sure. Alright, Persist. Persist, please. Not all at once. Not all at once. Not all at once. They could have Endurance, but... Show me the Endurance. Oh, I should have played this first. Okay, well, they didn't have Endurance. I definitely should have played this first. It's a lot better if they have Endurance. I did ask nicely, that is true. So if they go Tef Bounce, I just get to do it again. Tef Bounce, how the hell do they have 7 cards in their hand still? Didn't I just Archon them? I feel like these decks literally always have 7 cards in their hand. It's crazy. It's actually wild. It's just me. Yeah. Ooh. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Alright, combat step. The step in which I attack you. Trigger. Is there a land that draws you cards if you have 7? I think so, yeah. You're just taking it all? Just take it all, huh? I guess I'll play Teferi. Plus, I guess. Your turn. Is it the Biblioplex? Or Library of Alexandria, perhaps? That's a banger. I actually had I forgot who. I think it was M Hayashi. I played against M Hayashi playing Mono Red, and he actually put the Biblioplex in his deck. I know that M Hayashi puts a lot of weird lands, but he legitimately cast the Biblioplex against me, and I was surprised, to say the least. All right, I think I like this hand. Thoughtseize into Grave. It's medium. It's got some pieces. Could be worse. Could be better. Yeah, it's the Biblioplex. That's what it's called. You can't forget about the. It's not just any Biblioplex. It's the Biblioplex. It's the Biblioplex. That's a good draw. Just lead on Godless Shrine, I think, again. Take their Ren and 6, hopefully. It's kind of weird, because I, like, don't really care about any of these cards. I mean, I'm not going to lie, the card I kind of want to take is Alpine Moon. But the fact that they have Moon and Spreading Seas makes my Sagas kind of dead anyways. It's actually kind of tough. But the issue with letting them have Alpine Moon is I boarded out my Prismatic Endings. So if I let them have this, I'm never getting Sagas the rest of the game. That's, I think, my problem with letting them keep the Alpine Moon. Isn't Seas better so they can't force? I mean, if they want to 2-for themselves to counter an Unmarked Grave, do I really care? Like, wouldn't I just be okay with that trade? Like, I can upkeep the Mending so they can't force it, and then I could just, you know what I mean? I think I'm going to take the Alpine Moon. Like, I understand that the way my hand is currently constructed, Alpine Moon doesn't do much against it, but... They also might just cast the Spreading Seas, you know? Every card their deck cantrips to 2-for-1 isn't that good for us? I mean, the thing is, if I'm Mending or Unmarked Grave into a fatty, and they start countering reanimation spells, that's okay for me, you know? So they played Flooded Strand. I think I might just upkeep a Mending here, so they can't force it. Yeah, I think I like upkeep Mending. Okay, these are not good cards. Discard this. Discard this, I guess. Those are not good cards. Just flashback the Mending this turn, though. They play Forest. They have Teferi. Teferi would be a little awkward. Okay. So this is their 4-card hand currently. They bounced their Abundant Growth. Okay. Could Thoughtseize Unmarked Grave. Kind of down with that. Now I might take Forest. Yeah, now I'm going to take the Forest. And now I can just grave for an Archon. Yeah, this is fine, right? And now they're, like, maybe incentivized to cast Spreading Seas to shut me off white, but I've been sandbagging a plane, so they don't, you know what I mean? They don't know I have a second white source. So that's kind of, like, explicitly why I've been holding the planes, because I want them to Spreading Seas my only white source. Because I have this in my graveyard, so they're maybe incentivized to do that. Okay. The plus Tef. So they have Temple Garden, Hallowed Fountain, Solitude, Spreading Seas, 2 unknowns. Play Reflecting Pool. It's not a land we knew about. Pick up Bird. Sure. So we know 5 of their cards. Persist. Okay, I'm going to cast the one from hand in case I draw exactly Persist. Okay, that works. I guess it's kind of annoying that they have Solitude that exiles it. It's a little annoying. Because they're just going to discard a land and then Solitude this. Maybe I should have waited. But this opens me up to drawing another Unmarked Grave, which is pretty good. Yeah, that's twice now that I've ripped double Persist off of Mending. That's funny. They discarded Hallowed Fountains. Now they're going to play Temple Garden Solitude. And they have Spreading Seas Yorion after they do that. Asmo wasn't the worst draw. Not the best, but not the worst draw. How can I draw cards like you would when I play Reanimator? You just got to call it. So now we're going to draw Unmarked Grave, right? It's just how this works. Yeah, we could also Mending into Archon plus land. Alright. Tank, 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 cast the Solitude that we knew about. It's their only play. So they have Spreading Seas, Yorion, 2 unknowns. Unmarked Grave. Unmarked Grave. Unmarked Grave. Dealer. Please? That plays, right? No, we know they have Spreading Seas. Well... Now I could discard Cookbook Asmo, and then just go Thoughtseize your Spreading Seas, play Saga. That's not that good, is it, though? Because I have to discard the Cookbook and the Asmo? Like, I kind of want to just let them have Spreading Seas, discard the Saga, and Thoughtseize the Yorion. Because I think the Yorion is worth way more cards than the Spreading Seas, right? So what if I just went, like, discard Saga Asmo, and just Thoughtseize the Yorion? And then keep Cookbook? I guess it's better to keep Asmo, because I can Mending into Asmo next turn. Yeah, so I just go discard Cookbook, discard Saga. Yeah, okay. Take the Orion. Yeah, I have to take the Orion. The Ephemerate's kind of annoying too, but definitely can't let them have the Orion. It's just too many cards. Yeah, the Ephemerate's going to be rough. I mean, the cool thing is, even as long as I get an Archon trigger, even if they Solitude the Archon with the trigger on the stack, they still have to sack the Solitude. But they have this. That's the problem, right? Because they can just sack this to Archon and then Ephemerate the Solitude. Okay, that doesn't really matter. Unless they draw another one. They really draw a second one? That would suck. Oh, it doesn't do anything. Alright, blue, white, this. Okay, discard rights, discard Mending. Yeah, then I can go cast Asmo. I mean, honestly, I'm going to cast the Asmo now to try and bait the Ephemerate. Because I think them Ephemerating now is better for me than them Ephemerating once I find an Archon, right? And I think I'm just not going to play anything. Yeah, I'm just not going to play anything. Nice thing about putting Asmo into this deck is that we always have crappy cards to pitch to Mending. XD. XD, XD. I only have... This is my last cookbook. Did I just discard them all? I think I discarded them all, right? The Mendings. What's this? Expressive Iteration. Okay. It's a really good card. Iteration is a very good card. Okay. I feel like this game is slipping away from us. Mm-hmm. Get back a land. Okay. Could also draw Shadow Spear. That is a card that's in our deck. I don't know, chat. It's not looking great. And I can Thoughtseize Asmo, which is not bad. I can Thoughtseize the Ephemerate that we know about. So I guess I'm discarding Asmo Shadow Spear. Getting a black source off of this. Not seizing you. Ugh, I have another Solitude. Jesus. Alright, go. It's tough. Cycle Triome. Yeah. Play Forest. Back Triome. If I attack with Solitude, maybe I trade. Yeah, I think I'm just going to trade. I could Rights my Asmo. That's kind of bad, though. I'm going to wait to Rights the Asmo until I have more food in play. Because I could just make some food here. Got fries from this ramen shop, and they're should I gotten classic fries. Okay, just gonna have 6 until next end step. They have Flooded Strand, Solitude, and Rogren Triumph. Flooded Strand, Solitude, Rogren Triumph. All right, food. Let's tap. Now what? So I can make a food and then Rights the Asmo back? I guess I'm gonna do that. Two, three, four. And this might bait action with... not really, right? It might bait action with the Solitude, but they can also just... Like, I have to fight this thing to be able to pressure the Ren, but they can just go plus here, then Solitude the Asmo, and then I can't get towards the Ren after they... Yeah, I mean, I can't beat the Ren Ultimate, obviously. Okay, well, tank Flusterstorm, huh? It sucks because I think this person only plays Tron. Well, Sand's really good against Tron. Wait, what? What the fuck? Chat, what is happening? What is happening? Oh my goodness. Just getting trolled today. Actually getting trolled. Just mono trolled. Chalice on 0. I got some bad news for you. Turn to Archon Poggers. Turn to Archon Poggers. Archon's pretty bad against the Snaring Bridge, huh? mean, doubly so, because... Oh, well. You make them discard cards, which makes it so you definitely can't attack. It's gonna make a joke about 0-1 bracket. Well, we're 2-1. Yeah, I know, right? Like... Our opponent's 1-1. Chalice on 1, huh? Well, good thing is I don't have to cast spells to beat you, so... Good news is I don't have to cast spells. Alright, take 5. So, I guess they could play bridge, and if I draw any colored source, I win. It's a 3/3 token. Can I choose to fail to find on this? Oh, they have 1 card, so it doesn't matter. Discard... Oh, this, I guess. I don't know why I thought they had 3 cards in hand. Okay, not a colored source. There's just no reason to make another token, I don't think. I guess I should Mending now. Okay. Don't need this. Can't cast this. And I guess just pass. Alright, don't draw Thought Nuts here, I guess. Yeah, 1 more point for Springleaf Drum. Could've just... Well, I wouldn't have had Lethal, right? I could have tapped the Construct, and then I would have only had 8 damage if I had Drum. So I would have went to 1, but still would have been better, right? Oh yeah, Rambler, you lost this deck earlier, right? Crack map. Okay. What you cracking map for? I assume a Tron piece. They cast 3 bridges in 1 turn. Oh, jeez. 3 bridges in the same turn? Sheesh. Alright, they have a tower. They have a tower. What else you got, opponent? Are they E-Tron or Dice Pile? They're neither. They're playing Prison Tron. Look at what they exiled with Serum Powder. They're playing a Serum Powder deck. I mean, it's basically just Vintage Bazaar at that point, right? Oh, do they have Warping Whale? Should I, like, try to find Thoughtseize before I cast Prismatic Ending? Oh, man. I mean, I shouldn't, right? I should just cast my card. Oops. Alright, didn't get Warping Whaled. I maybe should have waited, but... The problem with waiting is what if they just find, like, Tron and go nuts that way, so waiting is kind of bad. Oh, yeah, there's no Chalice. Right. Yeah, so I couldn't Chalice. I couldn't Thoughtseize, because it's Chalice. Good point. Good point, chat. This is why you're here, you know? Chili Come Carnage! Hope you're doing good today, Chris. Thank you for the 17 months. Holy shit, indeed. Really appreciate the 17 months of support. That's a long time. Alright, what are we bringing in against Prison Tron? Teferi seems good. Oh, I also don't have Thoughtseize main deck. Right, I'm dumb. I'm just not with it today, chat. This blows up bridge, so I'll bring it in. How do they kill me? I don't know. These Blood Fountains seem kind of sus. If I just did this. Thoughtseize is not bad either, right? What am I cutting for Thoughtseize, though? Eldrazi normally or something off Karn? Yeah. I mean, I kind of want Thoughtseize, but I really don't know what to cut. Is this like a matchup where I would just cut Asmo? Is that crazy? What if I just cut Asmo entirely? Keep the cookbook so I can go turn 1 cookbook, turn 2 reanimate. Yeah, honestly, I kind of want to just cut the Asmos. They don't seem that great. And I also kind of want to cut the Blood Fountains, too. Let's try this. This is a weird sideboard plan, but I want to see how this plays out. They kill you with Resident Sleeper? Yeah. I take a break and we're back to Asmo? Oh, yeah. I always come back to it at some point, you know. One of these days, it'll eventually be good, Copium. Right? Right. It'll eventually be good. Think you want Needle? Oh, for Karn? Yeah, Needle kind of slaps. But I cut a Daredevil if I'm cutting the Asmos. I cut all the Daredevils. I mean, the rest of these cards are just not great, right? Yeah, I'll just trim a Daredevil. Yeah, Needle's good. So 1-lander with no white mana. Seems kind of bad, right? Yeah, this hand sucks. Unmarked Grave, Persist. Ending for their turn 1 map? Yeah, I like this. Oh, if they play map, I'm just gonna Needle it. Yeah. Because I want to save Needle, or I want to save Ending for Bridge, I think. So let's just get Godless Shrine. Yeah, I think it's worth saving Prismatic Ending for Bridge. This also cuts off more maps, right? Like if I ending the map and they just have a second one, it's a little bit worse. Okay, Chalice on 0. Boarded out the Asmos anyways. Got him. Okay, well, I'm definitely casting Unmarked Grave. Because if I wait a turn, they have the Saga, so... Can they kill us if we Emissary name artifacts? I assume they have a way to do that, right? Oh, it doesn't matter, right? Because I have the ending. Because my draw is cracked. Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. My draw is just perfect. Good thing I saved that Prismatic Ending, huh? Good thing I saved that Prismatic Ending. Discarded Karn, the Great Creator. Alright, what do we got? They can't map. I guess they can get a graveyard hate piece, like a relic or something, but they have to deal with the Archon in play. I guess they could just have Natitron. That would suck. Alright, they get a relic. They are playing Bridge, which I guess we don't have covered. God, dude. I don't know. I'm just gonna Thoughtseize them. It doesn't really matter. I just don't know what their last card is. Oh God. Oh my God. This is just not fair. So they could have just played the Spells Guide. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow, that was absurd. I've never gotten more lucky in my life. They didn't pop the relic? I don't even know if they have outs at this point, but... Oh, they drew Tron! Okay, never mind, they do have outs. They actually peeled Tron. Okay. Okay, show me what you got. Attack, trigger. They got a 1. I'm just gonna pass, right? I mean, I could Mending now to try and find Persist, I guess, which just kills them straight up. It's like kind of a spew, because now if they find... I mean, I guess they can't really find a piece of Graveyard Hate, right? Because if they draw Graveyard Hate, they're just dead on board, so this kind of covers them both ways. Okay. If they get Bridge, they just die. Is there a card they can get that saves them? Because we have them covered both ways, right? Seems like they're dead. Pre-combat Mending would have found a spear for lethal. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Alright, 3-1, we got him. Do you think Asmo Reanimator is better than standard stock Reanimator? Oh, they revealed Gigantha. Well, we're probably going to get dumpstered by Tron. This hand's not good enough, right? It's just, like, not even that good of a hand. Yeah. Well, this hand's a lot worse. So I'm going to go to 5. So never? You get it. Alright, I guess we're going to 4. Well, 2 lands, Unmarked Grave, Persist, huh? It's gonna have to be good enough. Wait, hold on. Yeah, okay. I thought that was a cookbook for a second. I was like, no. I mean, it's a good 4, but they're playing Tron. It's not going to be good enough. I don't think so. Wish to Fairy 4? Oh, they're not Tron. Okay, well, that's really good for me. Let's get Island, I guess. Not Tron? Did we dodge? Did we dodge, chat? I think we dodged. I think it's Niv. I was going to say Zoo. Alright, seems like we dodged. Seems like we dodged. Okay, that's what we're talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Why is Tron suddenly a popular thing again? I don't know. People just like Tron. So they probably have Teferi here, which is, you know, annoying, but... I thought you were playing 3 earlier, Rambler. Did you go up to 4? This has got to be Teferi, right? Blue, green, red. Shardless agents. I guess they were hoping to hit Tribal Flames. Well, they didn't hit Tribal Flames. So there's that. I am going to attack you. You bought the 4th? Nice. Wise decision. Alright, they're at 4. Alright, go. Tron's probably good against the 4-color piles. You would think so, but they have Spreading Seas, right? Like, most of these 4-color piles are playing main deck Spreading Seas. So, I mean, I think that Tron maybe has a slight edge, but... I guess the thing about Spreading Seas is the 4-color decks don't really have a fast way to clock, so you can just get to, like, 7 or 8 lands and just start casting your spells. Yeah, mold a 4 win. I think Zoo... I mean, they probably have a pile of Rest in Pieces in their sideboard. I'm going to cut to Fairies, I think, and just bring in Fractures. They just, like, load up on Answers to Rest in Peace, because I think that's the only card they probably have. I'm going to keep the Fountain Asmo package, because they do have creatures. I'm going to keep all the reanimation stuff. Yeah, this is all fine. Emissary named creature. Problem is, they can just burn it, right? They have Tribal Flames, which deals 5, so they can just throw 2 burn spells at it. And sometimes they have Teferi. I'm not in love with Emissary. It's not bad, but I think Archon just beats them most of the time anyways. Right, like, I mulliganed super aggressively because I thought they were Tron after they revealed Gigantha. Now I can keep a, like, if I knew they were playing Zoo, I probably would have kept the first hand, to be honest with you. But I thought they were Tron. I assume every time somebody reveals Gigantha, I just assume Tron. That's why I mulligan aggressively. 4-color decks also want to draw Spreading Seas early as often as, say, blue. Yeah, no, that's a good point, too. Because they're 80 cards. So, I mean, yeah, it's like... I don't know, it's probably still close. Closer than you might think. And they bring in Alpine Moon, too, so they have, like, Alpine Moon and Spreading Seas. It's probably a close matchup. You assume 5 players zero affinity now. I've just never seen. I just don't see that many non-Tron Giganta decks. My experience. Yeah, this hand kind of plays, right? It's not bad. Can go Watery Grave Plains. Trying out 2 Deafening Clear instead of 2 Dead Gone. Tonight, your Rhinos. Are you playing Saheeli or no? Ooh. Alright, let's go... What did we say? Watery Grave Plains, right? Yeah, Watery Grave Plains. Because I don't want to get basic Swamp, because I have to be able to cast Mending, so... They have Kavu for Graveyard Hate? Yeah, that's true. Maybe I could have brought in Fatal Push. The thing about Kavu is, like, Kavu is only really good against specifically Unmarked Grave Pass, because Kavu doesn't, like, you can't just use Kavu whenever. So there's going to be spots where, like, you play Kavu and your opponent just do it all in the same turn, you know? That's the problem with Kavu. Right, yeah. Alright, they do have Kavu. Alright, give me the Archon, chat. You ready for the Archon? That's not an Archon. I could persist my Oval Chase Daredevil. Should I play Saga or just cast Mending here? Like, hypothetically, if I play Saga, I can block the Kavu next turn, right? Because I'll have 1, 2, 3. It'll be a 5/5 exactly. But, like, if I play Kavu and they have, like, something for the Saga, it gets really dicey, right? Because then I just time walk myself and can't play the Mending. Yeah, I think I'm just going to Mending here. Because then I can go Saga Flashback Mending next turn. I think I like Mending. Correcting exam while hearing your soothing voice. Nice, Saturas. Hope you're having a good day today. Mending Flashback is gone with Kavu attack. No, because I can respond to the trigger. Because I can just I can just cast it. That's the thing about doing this, right? Is I can cast the Mending this turn. Next turn, if they attack and target the Mending, I can just flash it back in response. So that's the other nice thing about playing Mending this turn. I just get to cast it twice over the next 2 turns. So I get a lot of looks at Archon. General Ferris Rockerick. Alright. Resolves. Alright, let's find an Archon, shall we? Let's find an Archon, shall we? Well, they like all of the cards in their hand. They didn't loop at the Kavu. It's interesting. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. So... I think I'm going to get rid of the second Saga. I could just get rid of the 2 fetch lands. Kind of want to... No, I want to keep a second Black Source. Yeah, so just discard fetch land plus Saga, I think. I should have made a food before casting the Mending. Okay, that's good. So now I think I'm just going to kill the Kavu and pass. Yeah, I'm just going to kill the Kavu and pass. Well, play Saga. And the next turn I can just go Persist or Grave Persist. Got a Bloodbraid Elf, perhaps? I mean, if they discard in their last card's Tribal Flames, they could definitely get out of this. They found Teferi Time. Oh, no. They're going to bounce the Saga. So I just got Omega punished. Okay. I guess I should have played the flats for that reason. I forgot about Teferi. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Okay, I guess I punted. I should have played flats. Yeah, it might have been. I didn't think about Teferi. Oh, they plussed. Well, I guess they can also just bounce the Archon, right? Okay. Do I even survive? They sack a token. I go to 9. Actually, I don't even survive, right? They just bounce and kill me. Do I have outs? I don't think I have outs, right? Right, fetch to 6. Cast these two. Go up to 9. They sack a token. Bounce 4, 7, 10. And I guess I just hope they mess up, but... Asmo? Asmo doesn't save me, right? If I'm mending into Asmo, I guess I go up to 8, make a food, kill these two, and take 6 and go to 2. So I guess technically mending into Asmo does buy me a turn, right? Daniel Arola, thank you for the 4 months. Appreciate that. Thank you for the good vibes. So yeah, hypothetically, I can flashback Mending into Asmo, make a 4th food, kill these two. They bounce Asmo, I take 6 and go to 2. Well, I can Mending into Asmo. I should probably do that than just put myself dead on board, right? Alright, well. We died. We died. I'm still submitting. I still don't really like Thoughtseize against them. Let's just do the turn 2 thing again, shall we? Or I guess the turn 3. I mean, I'll take a turn 2, you know? I'm not going to complain if I get a turn 2. With 8 Cascaders, is Teferi better on the play? It's just like, I don't know. The problem with Teferi is they can just have like a bigger board, you know? Like if they, I mean, I guess on the play it is still pretty good against Scion, right? I just bounce Scion. And it fucks up their Shardless the next turn. Maybe it's okay, but it's still just kind of slow. Didn't see Rip. I mean, I kind of assume they have to have it, right? Okay, so this hand is turn 1 Fountain, turn 2 Loot, discard Archon, cast Asmo, and then turn 3 Persist. Yeah, this hand's good. This hand is lit. Blood Fountain finally looking good, huh? Blood Fountain finally looking good. How did Vegas go? Vegas, the tournament itself didn't go very well, but I had a lot of fun. It was a good time. Alright, they didn't play a 1-drop. So let's go... Yeah, discard Archon, cast Asmo. Hope they don't have Rest in Peace. I mean, they kept a hand and didn't have a 1-drop. They probably have Rest in Peace, right? Good chance they have Rest in Peace. The cool thing is, we have the rest, we have like, Cookbook, Archon, Persist rolled up, so if you find Prismatic Ending, I can just go Ending and then just do it again, so. And it's like, they need Rest in Peace to compete this game. If they don't have it, they're just dead. I feel like they do, but... Okay, well. I think we're done. Drew the ending too? Jeez. You should play card turn once they can fetch Triumph. Well, they showed us Hierarchs, so. They do have Hierarchs in their deck. What's up, Def Chat? So play it out, or... So, play it out, or... I guess they could go Tef, bounce Archon. It's not even close to good enough, though, right? Eh, maybe. Probably not. I mean, it makes it so they're not dead. Alright, tap land. Scion of Draco. I don't think that's going to do it. I don't think that is going to do it. Alright, we got a 4-1 chat. 4-1, not too bad. Took a loss to 4-color Yorion. We'll take a 4-1, you know. It's alright. We'll take a 4-1.